Good evening. My name is Jae-jin Park. I'm the staff attorney for the Korean American Civic Empowerment. I will be the moderator for tonight. I would like to thank you all audience for attending this City Council debate, and which is the first of its kind in Englewood Cliffs. Also, we would like to thank you all for candidates for accepting our invitation. Please welcome our four candidates. Tonight's debate is organized by the Korean American Civic Empowerment to help Englewood Cliffs residents, especially Korean Americans, in making educated decision for the November 6th general election, and to create an opportunity for candidates to outreach their Korean American constituents. For this purpose, we have invited all local media. Not all local media is here, but I believe they will cover tonight's event. So if mostly Korean American medias are here, so candidates, please speak slowly so that they can understand, so that they can, they are recording this candidate debates, so some of the Korean news televisions will cover this too. So,
slowly, it takes away from 2 minutes.
Yes. Yeah, but still, you still have 2 minutes. So, before we start the candidate debate, I would like to briefly explain the rules. So, first session will be the opening statement. Each candidate will have 2 minutes to speak, to deliver their opening statement. The speech order will be arranged by ourselves. I mean, so it is already candidates already agreed on that order. So it will be the incumbents who will speak first, and they will take turns in parties. So that means the first person is a Democrat, then the Republican will answer next, and then Democrat and Republican. So, and also they will take turns in answering the questions. So if the opening statement will be the first person will be Mr. Pavaro, but he will be the last person to answer the first question in the question and answer session. So in that way, we will take turns. So there will be the opening statement, and then after opening statement, we will have a moderator question and answer session. So I have a couple of questions, and then I will ask some questions, and then candidates will answer. And they will also, the candidates will have 2 minutes to answer, and then after all four candidates answer the questions, then candidates will have 30 minutes for rebuttal to any answers. Yeah, 30 seconds, not 30 minutes, I'm sorry. We have only 1 hour, so I cannot give you 30 minutes, but we have 30 seconds. Yeah, it's not automatic. If you want to rebut, you have anything to rebut, then ask me. Then we will give you 30 seconds. So, and then after the Q&A session, we will have the audience Q&A session too. Now we are getting the questions. If you have any questions, write it down and then give it to our volunteers. But for the timekeeping wise, I think we don't have then much time to ask all the questions. So we will pre-screen, and then we will select 1 or 2 questions for the audience questions session. And after that, we will have closing statement for each candidate for 2 minutes. That's our rule. And then our rule is also, we have another thing. In this room, there is no campaigning in here. So if you have anything, don't distribute to anybody. And also, we would like to ask all audience to be quiet during the debate. And then if you make any noise to interrupt this debate, we will ask you to leave this room. So be careful about that. And also, for the candidates, it's just debate. And then we want to control the situation. So no interactions are allowed between candidates. So use your time wisely.
I would like to thank KACE for offering this debate tonight. Thank you very much. I met them a few weeks back. They're super folks. I've been asked why I am seeking office. For over 30 years, I have helped make Englewood Cliffs the jewel on the Palisade, the jewel with Fortune 500 businesses, low taxes, and a great place to raise a family. In fact, Englewood Cliffs has been rated the #4 community in the nation as a great place to live. What are my qualifications? I served as a councilman from 1970 to 1981, and then from 2011 to present. Currently, I am the council president, serving as liaison to the fire department and the Board of Health. I served as municipal clerk for 26 years in the borough and as administrator for 19 years. I was named Municipal Clerk of the Year for the state of New Jersey in 1999 and taught municipal government as a teaching adjunct for Rutgers University for 10 years, teaching not only municipal clerks but borough officials. Prior to entering work in government, I taught science at Dwight Morrow High School in Englewood. I am a Korean War veteran and hold membership in the Veterans of Foreign Wars and the Disabled American Veterans. I've been married to my wife Yvonne for 49 years. I have 2 sons and 4 grandchildren. When I retired in 2007, Englewood Cliffs was in great shape and all departments were operating smoothly. During the years 2010 and 11, I have watched our local government slowly disintegrate because of mismanagement and micromanaging by newly elected officials who had no knowledge of the workings of municipal government. That's it? I'm done.
안녕하세요. 반갑습니다. It is nice to meet all of you, and I am happy to be here. That's what that means. My name is Carol McMorrow, and I have been a councilwoman since 2010. My husband, Michael, has been an Englewood Cliffs police officer for over 38 years, and I'm the proud mother of 3 sons, Brandon, Ryan, and Dylan. I'm a licensed realtor with experience in both single-family residential and multi-unit dwellings. I have a passion for serving our residents and for helping to make our community to be the best that it could be. I take great pride in representing the core values that people want in government. I became involved in politics because the Englewood Cliffs government was not responsive to anyone other than a select group of people. My life experience has made me the person that I am today. Hardworking, loyal, dedicated, fiscally responsible, and responsive. For me, these are not just words. This is a way of life. It is because of these attributes that I am able to serve you, the community, with the passion that I have. Having lived abroad for 5 years, I understand the challenges and the difficulties of adapting to a new culture, a new language, and a new way of life. This life experience has taught me the importance of recognizing the role that our community can play in involving the various cultures that make up Englewood Cliffs. I am running for re-election because it is very important that we maintain a 2-party system in Englewood Cliffs. Just as consumers don't want a monopoly in business, taxpayers should not want the monopoly in government. Our residents would be best served with a council that offers checks and balances, and that's what a 2-party system gives you. Thank you.
And Ms. Nola Sharon Jobson.
Yes. Good evening, and thank you all for coming, taking a little bit of your of your Friday night to spend with us, and thank you, KACE, for hosting this wonderful debate. I've been asked, why am I running for office? I'm an 18-year resident of Englewood Cliffs. I raised both of my children here. I've been married to my husband, William, for over 29 years. And I'm running for office because I believe that our residents need a voice and leadership. I believe that our residents need to be heard. And I have sat in council, sitting in the audience since 2010, watching many of you protest against our budget that had been defeated and requesting that that be changed. Some of you came out and actually did several petitions requesting that both of our borough administrators who were fired by the prior administration would be returned, and your voice was not listened to. It was simply ignored. Government is for the people. You are the people. I believe in a two-party system because we are in a government that believes in a two-party system, and it is the correct way. However, you, and only you, are the watchdogs of this government. It is up to you to be involved, to make sure and demand the transparency that government can give you, and to come to council meetings and participate with us. I am a Cuban American, and I understand what it's like not to know the language. I understand what it's like to have to learn everything from the beginning. I understand what it's like to be in a foreign country and not to speak the language well. I still translate for many of my old Cuban friends. I go back to Washington Heights where my parents live, and I take them to whatever medical appointments they need because some of them still haven't learned the language. But my parents made sure that my brother and sister and I did. I thank you for coming, and I look forward to working with each of you.
Thank you. Mr. Farrell?
Yes. Hi. My name is Ramon Ferro. I am a former Englewood Cliff councilman. I have lived in Englewood Cliff since 1979 with my wife, Lida, and I have raised my two children, Leonardo and Laura, who both went through the Englewood Cliff school system. I came to this country from Cuba at the age of 15 years old with my parents. We were forced to start over again, losing everything to the Cuban government. Through dedication and hard work, I was able to achieve the American dream. I fully understand the struggles and challenges that come with living in a new country. I appreciate and respect the Korean community for showing interest and wanting to get involved. I work as a commercial artist in New York City. I was a coach for the Englewood Cliff soccer program for over 12 years, as well as an assistant baseball coach. It was through this community involvement that I was able to serve in the Borough Council. I am very happy to have this opportunity to speak to the community at this time. Thank you.
Thank you. It's for the opening statement session. So now we will go to the moderator Q&A session. Yeah, I have the first question. The first question will be this. So according to 2010 census, there are 5,281 residents in Englewood Cliffs. Among them, about 39% are Asian Americans, and about 20%, 1,072, are Korean Americans. The question is, what can be done to improve Korean Americans and minority communities' accessibility, increasing the accessibility to the services that Englewood Cliff is providing? The first person to answer this question is Ms. Manuel.
Thank you, Ms. McMorrow. And we have 2 minutes to answer?
Yeah, 2 minutes. And then you have 30 seconds if you have any rebuttal after all four candidates answer the question.
Thank you. That's a very good question. I believe that with 20% of Koreans being in Englewood Cliffs, well, 39% Asian, 20% Koreans, we need to come up with an idea to help them to understand what is in Englewood Cliffs for them. I proposed last year, but being one vote, I don't have a majority, to create a diversity committee, which would have an outreach program to the people in Englewood Cliffs. We need to help educate you what is in Englewood Cliffs so that you can get involved. And this diversity committee would meet with volunteers that would help for, let's say, an example, translate things on the website or a newsletter or whatever you as a community tell us that you need from us. We have to work together hand in hand. We want to help you, but we need you to help us to help you. And through this diversity committee, we can learn about each other's cultures. We can learn how to make life in Englewood Cliffs a better place for you. And through education and communication of what is here in the borough for you, you're going to just feel more at home. We can find out if it's important for you to have a gathering place. For example, many of the Korean community probably didn't even know we have this Lions Club here that you can use. We want to let you know what we already have here for you. We have a senior center, we have a Lions Club, we have a flu clinic, we have so many beautiful programs, but only through communication and a diversity committee, which I would propose, we would be able to help you together. Thank you.
Ms. Jobson, you have a second?
So your question is, just to make sure, what would we do to reach out to the Korean community?
To increase the accessibility of the services that provided by the city.
Well, I did it last year. I worked very hard as a campaign manager for the Democratic Party in order to make sure that Gloria Oh was elected as the first woman Korean of this particular town. I intend to continue to work to include all Koreans into our community. Now, I heard my esteemed colleague, and may I comment on this, about this diversity committee. Last year, you had the majority, so you had the ability to create that diversity committee. It's this year that you don't have the majority, number one. Number two, we are working hard. We just got a new website, and by the end of this year, if not by 2013, it will be in Korean. I've already made the inquiries, and our website will be accessible to all Korean-speaking Americans. We have conducted last year cottage parties for the Korean American community to include them. We did an active registration for the Korean American community. I met some of you at some of these cottage parties, and we talked about politics and helped you along to fill out the form. So we're doing it. We've been doing it all along. We have one of the largest businesses right here, LG, and we plan to work with LG to help us to reach out to the Korean community once their building is finally built. And I can report that we just passed in council a new ordinance which will hopefully move things in that area along to allow the Korean community to come in and have some businesses in there, or more Korean businesses than what we have. So we're doing it, and we're going to continue to do it. We're going to continue to reach out to the Korean community.
Mr. Farrell? Mr. Farrell?
Well, I would say that I do have many friends in the Korean community, and as we are walking door to door now during our campaign, we're talking to the Korean community, asking them to get involved. We are offering them to get involved. I mean, we can't go to their home and drag them out, but we are giving them information if they wanted to get involved. It all depends on them. We are here to help them. Thank you.
Mr. Barbaro?
I think my involvement with the community started many, many, many years ago when I first met my good friend D.K. Min. We served on a planning board together. Democrats in this town have placed many Korean Americans in positions in the borough. On the planning board right now is Mr. Kiki Kim, who is a full-time member of the planning board. This year I interviewed new patrolmen, and I recommended the hiring of a Korean American police officer who not only speaks Korean but is fluent in Spanish. We also have a Democratic County Committeeman in the 4th District, that's in the north end of town, who is also a Korean American. So it's good to talk about what we're going to do. We have done it. We have started. And we're not done yet. Another year, excuse us, don't do that. Excuse me. In another year, we plan to have more Korean Americans in positions within the borough. So it's easy to say we want to do it. We've done it.
Is there anybody who want? Yeah, actually she wanted to. Yeah, yeah, rebuttal. You have 30 seconds then.
Because you were first, and then I'll finish
Just for the public to know, we did do things for the Korean community as well. Originally, we did have a Korean candidate, and I've encouraged Koreans to come out and have a voice in government. Unfortunately, she had to step down because of health reasons. But what happened was she liked getting to know all of us, and she's now appointed to the Board of Health. So we have a Korean American at the Board of Health, and I also encourage to have our first Korean American working at Borough Hall, which is greatly needed. And to do that, we have to advertise publicly in the newspaper. Thank you.
Johnson,
want to add
30 seconds.
Yes, I just want to add one thing that my esteemed colleague forgot to mention. Last year, when we did the cottage parties, one of the things that Joe came up with, and it was his idea to be inclusive of all the community, he went out and he got the ballot, and he got the ballot in Korean, and we went to the cottage parties, and we showed our Korean constituencies what the ballot would look like in Korean, and we allowed them to take a look at it so they would be able to read, so that they would not have a problem. That is what we're doing and what we will continue to do to reach out to the Korean community.
Right. Thank you. And then our second question is this. According to an article of Northern Valley Suburbanite on September 27, 2012, the red light cameras installed at the intersection of Palisade and Sylvan Avenues is a hot topic in Englewood Cliffs, I think. The article reports that a survey from the DOT reported that approximately about 66,976 vehicles enter the intersection every day, and there are about 35 to 40 motor vehicle accidents at the location annually. That would be over 24 million cars passing the intersection each year. And at the rate of 40 accidents a year, the percentage of the possibility of the accident is about 0.00002. There are 5 zeros and 2 accidents per vehicle traveling through this intersection. Some residents says that the cameras are not actually for the safety purpose, but they are only for the Red Fox group, which installed the camera, and then which receives about $35.50 per the fine that is about $85. And Englewood Cliff is getting about $35 of that fine. Some people think there are many ways to reduce the accident at the intersection, such as posting extra signs or that kind of stuff. But what is your opinion about the red light camera in Englewood Cliffs? And if you are elected, what are you going to do with that red light cameras? That's my question. So the first person to answer this will be Ms. Jobson.
So let me tell you about the camera. I already got a ticket. So like many of you, I paid my $85 for the ticket, and I hope never to get one again. And I got a ticket because I didn't stop all the way. Shame on me. That's the rule. I remember years ago coming home from New York, because I was taking the bus in at a time, and seeing a horrific accident at that intersection where a woman actually got killed who was trying to cross the street, and a car hit her that didn't see her, and it was dark on a winter night. The camera was recommended to us by our police chief. It was something actually that Carol McMorrow went out, and when she was down, I believe, in one of the conventions, thought it would be a good idea for us to have that type of camera there. And my understanding of it is that more studies will need to be done on this. And if it is found that indeed the camera is not a good idea, then it will be removed. But that is something that I think we have to examine carefully.
And Mr. Farrell, your second.
I haven't gotten any ticket yet. I guess I stopped on the right place, but my daughter did. I don't like those cameras too much. I don't like it. But at least we can give more information to the public. I believe there should be at least a sign close to the line where the car is supposed to stop that it says, stop here on red. I think that will help a lot of drivers. Thank you.
Mr. Barbaro?
It was a surprise to me when those lights went in. I knew nothing about it till they went in. I drive very carefully on 9W and Palisade Avenue. In fact, I try to avoid it. I go down Summer Street and down a few other blocks and come up on John or Dillingham because I know sometimes I edge out a little bit. But as said, there was 40 some odd accidents, which is a teeny percentage, but in that 40 accidents, you failed to mention how many people got killed. And there was more than 5. 5 deaths isn't worth it. The cameras, if they turn out to be something bad, they will be removed. But if it saves one life, then it's worth it.
Ms. Morrow?
Thank you very much. I just want to tell you, first of all, the red light camera absolutely was not my idea. It started in about 2008. I wasn't even on the council then, I think 2008 or 2009. And what Ms. Jobson, and I know you're new at this, Ms. Jobson, but I just want to let you know what the facts are. I went down to the League of Municipalities. That's something that council people can go down to, and they get information. There's a lot of vendors and everything down there. And while there, everybody grabs you and says, take this and take that and take this. And I came back with about three big bags of stuff. In fact, you know, I was a newbie, and I'm like, oh, this is great. I'm getting all these free brochures. And the mayor was like, what did you bring all that stuff back there for? We already, you know, have everything we need. And I just brought it back and I gave it to who might have wanted to look at it. Actually, nobody even wanted to hear or see what I had. It was from a different company who never even was allowed to come to the borough of Englewood Cliffs and present their presentation. This was totally all done before I was ever even on the council. I do believe that the chief of police is even looking into other locations. I read that in the newspaper, that there were other locations that he was possibly looking into. So I believe that if you're gonna have something that is supposed to be safe or cause the residents to be safer, then you need to educate them as to what this is. I was very disappointed at how it was handled in not understanding what was going on. Definitely a letter should have went out bilingually to let residents know what that red light camera meant and where you should stop. And if you really want to be safe, make it a no right turn on red. That's going to be safe, okay? And if you can't do that, put a big sign out that says stop here at this line, not a little sign like this that nobody can see. So thank you very much. That's how you would help people.
Mr. Barbaro, you have 30 seconds.
30 seconds. I'm a member of the police committee, and this is the first time I've heard about a red light being placed someplace else. Secondly, the red light was approved last year when Ms. McMorrow was on the council, and if she was objecting to it now, she should have objected to it then. Makes no sense to do it after the fact. Should have done it last year when she had the chance.
Yeah, of course. You have 30 seconds, too.
It was in the newspaper, and I think he was quoted in saying there was other locations that he was looking into, and I know you're on the police committee, but I was never on the police committee. I recused from anything having to do from the police committee, and all those discussions took place within that police committee, and that's all that it is.
Thank you. You know, 2 days ago, the Englewood Cliffs City Council approved B2A zoning. It's a special, it's tailored for the LG electronics. So it will affect to our neighborhood. So what if other companies wanted to have same building, same zoning, the change. So what will you do as a council member when it happens? And what is your opinion about LG's application? Yeah, that will be, the first person will be Farrell. Mr. Farrell. It's a really hard question.
Well, this is already decided by the council, and I think the town should have been more involved on this decision. It should have been make sure that everybody in town knew about it, because there are many people that were walking, and a lot of people, even though it happened, it's a big news, but there are a lot of people that don't even know about it. At this time, believe me, I find some people, I don't know where they have been living all this time, because, you know, it's happening. A lot of people don't even know that that's going on.
Then Mr. Fabao, you are the second.
This particular project, the rezoning from Bayview Avenue all the way up to, I think it's New Street, was discussed at the planning board level for 3 or 4 meetings. At the council meeting the other night, it was passed. There wasn't one objection that came from the public, not one. LG paid $55 million for that piece of property. They're going to put up a $200 million building, making probably the assessed value of it $250 million at $1.100. That comes to $2.5 million a year in taxes. That's a lot of money. Our entire budget right now is $13 million and change. You take $2.5 million on top of that, it's almost 16% of our budget. Your taxes are going to go down because this building's coming in. They're also creating 1,800 jobs. I don't know if they're going to go to Korean Americans. I don't know who they're going to, but they're going to go to qualified people, whoever they are. But it's going to cause our restaurants to do more business. It's going to cause all of our businesses to do more business. It's going to be a boom to the borough of Englewood Cliffs.
Ms. McMorrow.
Thank you. First of all, I just want to say that I think that LG is a wonderful corporate citizen. I just want to tell you a quick story, nothing to do with the dealing here with this. I had an electronic signboard installed, and I had some monies that were given through the Board of Health, and LG was the only company that was willing to help. This was 2 years before anything to do with this project, but I'm just saying they're wonderful corporate citizens. I think it's great that they chose Englewood Cliffs to keep their headquarters. We should be honored that they are here. Just to answer your question, Mr. Moderator, though, the planning board is the one that would be able to decide on the question you're asking. You know, if it comes to the council after that, fine, but any decisions about any other companies that may want to then apply would go to the planning board and not to the council. So just to make that, you know, and I'm not on the planning board, and the members of the planning board are appointees by the mayor. And also, just a quick correction, Councilman Favaro, it's from Van Ostrand to New Street, not from Bayview to New Street. There you go. I am paying attention. Okay, thank you very much.
Yes, Ms. Johnson.
So just to answer your question, I sit on the planning board. So this year, one of the things that we did as part of my planning board duties was we hired a planner, and the planner is working on a master plan for Englewood Cliffs to revise it. And one of the things that came out of this hiring was the fact that we decided to send to the council an ordinance to overlay that zone. Now, you asked about building heights. LG is a very unique, special opportunity, and we are honored that they decided to make Englewood Cliffs their headquarters. It will be a state-of-the-art building. It will be a building that is environmentally correct, and it had to go before the Board of Adjustment, and the Board of Adjustment, who is no longer in existence, spent a great deal of time vetting the project and making sure that it is what we wanted for Englewood Cliffs. The ordinance, the overlay ordinance that the Planning Board sent to the council is exactly that, an overlay ordinance. The existing ordinance is still there, so it's in addition to what's there. This allows businesses to sort of reconfigure themselves. If a business wanted to come into Englewood Cliffs and do something different than what we have currently, it would have to be rezoned. They would have to go before the planning board. They would have to make sure, we would have to make sure that all the I's were dotted and all the T's were crossed. It's not that simple. We are a unique community, that we are a combination of wonderful suburban homes and businesses on this wonderful $1 trillion mile, and we want to keep it that way. We're not looking for skyscrapers here. We're looking to keep the quality of life that we currently have. But I'm going to tell you something. LG is going to be a wonderful boon for Englewood Cliffs, because it's going to bring jobs and it's going to open up that area to make it better. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, Mr. Barbaro, 30 seconds.
One point I forgot. LG is being built on 25 acres. And it's the only 25-acre tract in the borough of Englewood Cliffs, as far as I know, unless some companies get together and knock. But this is on the east side of US Route 9W. All the other businesses in town are on the west side, going all the way up past Palisade Avenue. On the east side, north of Palisade Avenue, it's all Palisade State Parkway property, so nothing can ever go there. All of the campuses that you see on the...
Yes, stop. It's about 3 fire sirens. Yes, we have the question. Yes, we have the question about the sirens. Yeah, we are not asking about whether we have to keep it or modify it or something, you know. We believe it is a good example of lack of transparency of borough contracting. According to the news article, for the $63,000 contract, no request for bid was advertised, but the contractor got some tips from someone in Borough Hall. The company was the sole bidder who won the contract, and without a properly signed contract, they were paid for the full contract amount. It is from a news article. And now it is not clear whether the borough can get the money back. So if elected, what are you gonna do to increase the transparency and the accountability of the borough spending? And how will you prevent the same things from happening again? So the first person to answer this question is Mr. Barbaro.
Are you talking about the transparency, or are you talking about the sirens? You put in 2 minutes, you can't do both.
Regarding actually it is transparency.
Transparency.
Yes. It is a good example for that.
Yeah, okay. Transparency, what it means, this bottle is transparent. You can see through it, just so in case. This is what government's supposed to be. In most cases it is. The siren problem was not transparent. It was not transparent for the simple reason that nobody did what they were supposed to do. They didn't make public the bid for this particular project. All projects of $17,000 or more must be publicly advertised in the newspaper. Must be. It was not. That's the first problem with the transparency. It didn't happen. The second part of the transparency here was that a contract was entered into or passed by the council last year, a resolution awarding something that was not transparent and was never legally advertised. The law in the state of New Jersey is specific in contracts law that you must follow the rules, or possibly the project may become null and void. May become null and void. This is the question that we're trying to get the answer to now. Can we still go forward with this project, or must we do something else? If we have to do something else, we may have to rebid it. We may, if that's what they find, which means we will have to advertise it again and go through the whole process. It's a very complicated issue because contracts were signed, materials delivered, and it was a complete fiasco. And of course, the people who were involved are no longer with us, so we can't get any answers. So that's where we are.
Mr. McMorrow, you are the second.
Thank you very much. I'm not going to belabor the point of the fire sirens that much more. I'm going to leave it up to our borough attorney to advise us on what we can and cannot do based on where we are right now. And I am going to take the high road here and not blame anybody for what happened, and we need to, as a group, figure out how to solve this. We have volunteer firefighters that have needs, and we have residents that have concerns on certain issues, and we need to sit together and figure out how to take that done. And I will take my direction from the borough attorney once he gets back to us on what we can do going forward. As to transparency, I just want to make a couple of quick statements. For the first time that this is my third year, the budget meetings were not the way that we did them 2 years ago, or even when the Democrats were in control before that. Budget meetings were open to the public. This year we had one budget meeting that was open to the public, and let you understand that we are a committee of the whole on the finance. That means we have to advertise our meeting and meet. That's a little more difficult. If you only meet 3 people, you don't have to advertise, and no one knows what you're doing. So you're doing your budget behind closed doors. So when your taxes go up 6% and you don't have open budget meetings, you need to ask why. That's number one. Number two, as for transparency, Councilman Favaro was the borough clerk for 26 years. And I would like to let you know that we did not have closed session minutes until I put an Oprah request in 2009 and found out that they did not exist. And in 2009, I think we had to approve, I don't know, 10 years of minutes. I forgot how many years it is right now, but they were never done. So as for transparency, the Democrats are not one that I will ever take a lesson from. Thank you.
Ms. Jobson, you're the third.
Are we good? Carol, there you go again. The question was about transparency, and the question was about the sirens. It wasn't about the budget. It wasn't about the minutes in 2009. It's about what happened to the sirens and what is going on with the sirens. And there you go again, rearranging the order.
Jobson?
Yes.
Do not,
Okay, so you asked me about the sirens. And you asked
Actually,
about...
we are asking about transparency.
Transparency. The reason why this whole problem occurred, my understanding from sitting in the audience, is in 2009, we fired the entire administrative staff who knew how to run the town. Mrs. McMorrow's majority fired the existing clerks, and there was no one in town to help the new person who came on and help her to understand what was going on. During that time, a purchase order was written for this $63,000 fiasco that all of our taxpayers, including myself, have paid for. The contract was not done correctly. Nothing was done as it should have been. And I can only go back to the fact that the person who was doing it was not properly trained. And in 2011, I went to the council and asked, how are we going to allow someone who doesn't have the experience of being a clerk but had the licenses to come in and do it? And I was told by Mrs. McMorrow that this person would be able to do it. Well, lo and behold, later on in 2011, I believe, or maybe Joe, you can correct me, in 2012, we had to hire an assistant to help her because it was just too much for her. Much too much for her. And that's how things went awry in Englewood Cliffs, and that's how transparency got lost. The proper person was not in the proper job.
Thank you. Mr. Farrell?
glad that I was not in the council at that time. And I would like to see an investigation of the whole thing. I hope that the borough attorney will take care of that. Thank you.
Is there anybody for rebuttal?
Just one comment, sir. Before the Open Public Meetings Act was passed, you didn't have to keep minutes of the closed sessions. That's number one. Number two, when I did have the closed session minutes and they were approved, after you have them for 80 days, you're allowed to ask the Bureau of Archives in Trenton if it is okay to destroy them, which I did. So don't tell me I didn't have them. I had them, but I was allowed to get rid of them.
Yeah. Ms. Mangmolo, you have 30 seconds.
I never said that he was not allowed to get rid of them. I said they weren't done. And the meeting of 2009 reflects how many closed session minutes had to be approved at one time because they were never done when they were supposed to be done. That's the first thing. And your question, Mr. Moderator, was transparency and how it affected the budget as well. And that's why I stated that budget meetings need to be done in the open. And to sit and criticize a borough clerk that's not here any longer, she was very qualified. Her capital budget plan was one of the best that I've ever seen presented to this borough. I've never seen another one like that since. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. Do you want? Yeah. Do you want any rebuttal? I mean,
Well,
you already spent. Yeah, you have 30 seconds.
One thing is to be qualified in degree. Another thing is to be qualified in practice. And the administrator, though she was an amazing woman and may she be in a wonderful place, was not qualified in practice. And you need the practice in order to understand what's going on. And it's the practice that I object to, the fact that she had no experience in doing it. And from my learning and sitting in the council meetings for the past 2 years, there's a lot of stuff that goes on in Borough Hall. It's not an easy job, and you need someone with experience doing it.
So our closing statement will be, you have 2 minutes for closing statement. The first person to deliver will be Ms. Jobson. Yeah, you have 2 minutes for the closing.
Okay, first of all, I want to thank all of you for coming out here tonight and for supporting us and for listening to us. I wanted to thank KACE again for hosting it. Thank you very much. I think tonight you've heard a variety of different views from all the candidates on what we believe and what our strengths are and where we think our town is going. I just want you to go home and understand that Joe and I are here to listen to you, and we're here to ensure that all of your voices are heard. You are our clients, and you deserve to be treated as such. That's the way I look at the residents. I look at it in terms of a fiduciary code of responsibility, which is something politicians don't talk about. It's a responsibility to the voters and to ensure that the voice of the voters are clearly heard and the concerns of the voters are clearly carried out. You're not always going to like our decisions, because sometimes we have to make decisions that might be a little difficult. It wasn't easy for this particular council to go out and say to people, we have to have a 6% increase, but they really had no choice. And we know how much everyone's hurting in this economy. What we can say is, looking forward in Englewood Cliffs, what I'd like to see is more businesses coming in here, and if I'm elected, I will work to try to get that area of the B zone much more, where there are a lot of commercial spaces, to have commercial people come in. I know Gloria O is already working on bridging that by creating a liaison with businesses in the area to try to get them together and to kind of address their concerns. And I hope to be working more on that so that we can get more people coming into that particular space. I just want to leave you with a thought that I think ties up the last 2.5 years. Actions are our only belongings, and actions are who we are. So I want you to remember the actions of the past 2.5 years when you vote.
Yes. Thank you. And Ms. Farrell, you have 2 minutes for closing.
I want to work together with Councilman Morrow to hold the line on property taxes, rein in spending, and make government more efficient. I will be a positive voice for so many of the families who live in Englewood Cliff and whose life experiences mirror my own. As an immigrant, I feel that I can relate to the Korean community desire to be involved in our community and can help bridge that obstacle that exists and help them to cross that bridge. Please remember, we need your support to maintain the two-party system in Englewood Cliff for keeping checks and balances. And for this, we need you to elect Councilman Morrow and myself, Ramon Ferro. Thank you.
Mr. Barbaro.
In Englewood Cliffs, Democrats have been in control for 35 of the last 40 years. And in those 35 years, we built all of the businesses, or had built all the businesses on US Route 9W. We brought them all in. We built every ball field. We paved every road. We've kept your taxes the second or third lowest in Bergen County for 40 years. We've done all that. Whenever you come to a council meeting, you ask us a question, or at least I have anyway, I will always answer your question. You may not like the answer, but you're going to get an answer from me. I've never said thank you for your comments. I've given you an answer to the question you asked. I'd have to compliment Mr. Ferro, because he's a good buddy of mine. And I'd have to remind him in 1995, he brought the Teamsters into Englewood Cliffs, was a great accomplishment. And in 2010, they brought in the PBA union. So I want you to know why many of us are having a hard time getting our budgets in the way they're supposed to be. Because when you deal with union attorneys, it's a, well, someday you got to sit in on one of these meetings with the union attorneys. It's a tough deal, a really tough deal. And we do the best we can. And again, thank you all for coming. I want to thank KACE and you lovely people for inviting us, and I wish my opponents luck. Maybe, yeah. I do.
Ms. McMorrow.
First of all, I want to thank the Korean American Civic Empowerment Organization for choosing Englewood Cliffs to hold this event. I value and respect the efforts made by KACE to assist the Korean community in understanding important issues in this election here in Englewood Cliffs and to communicate to them the importance of their vote. It is a privilege and an honor to speak to the residents of Englewood Cliffs and to know that I can make a difference in your life. I understand the importance of keeping taxes under control. We did not take the easy way out. We worked harder to get the job done. And we proved to Englewood Cliffs that it can be done, while at the same time, your services were improved. I'm committed to transparency, open communication, and improving access to information for all residents, including those for whom English is a second language. November 6th is an important day, not only nationally, as we will vote for a president, but I believe that this is one of the most important elections that Englewood Cliffs is going to be facing, and their residents. You will be deciding if Englewood Cliffs will continue to have a two-party system with checks and balances that only a two-party system provides, or all-party control. That's one party. Without a two-party system, you face higher property taxes and a government which keeps you in the dark about how your money is being spent. I urge you to evaluate the candidates on their track record, their actions, their merit, and their core values, and not their promises. And you will find those candidates in column 1 on November 6th. 여러분 와주셔서 감사합니다. Thank you for coming.
Thank you. This is our Englewood Cliffs Council candidate debate. Voter registration due date is next Tuesday, October 16th. Don't miss if you are not registered to vote. And if you don't have any time to go out to vote on November 6th, please apply for the mail-in ballot, vote by mail. So we have a vote by mail application behind the table. So we urge you to to go out and vote on November 6th. Thank you. Thank you. It is. Thank you. Good night.
Thank you.
That's all right. Practicing. Thank you so much. Good job.